Hello, beautiful people. I'm Deja Riley.
And I'm Alicia Ferguson.
And you are tuned into Dose of Duality, the podcast where we dive into deep conversation, cultivating a sense of community around the state of coexistence. I did it.
Ba-ta-ta-ta.
She back.
Honestly, you didn't lose your breath. You're pregnant right now, so like that would to be expected.
It came from the diaphragm.
You
okay?
You said say it with your whole chest.
I did, and I put it down. Now listen, we already hear, I guess, in the background, so we're gonna get right to the nitty gritty.
Yes.
We have a special soul in the space today.
I love how you even introed that. That felt special.
I mean, I'm very excited to have her here.
Yeah.
I could feel her energy when I walked into the room, and I was like, "Oh, I want to soak this in. This feels good. This feels good." Okay. But speaking of feeling good, how are you feeling today?
I am feeling a mix of things.
Yeah.
Which is good to feel the full breadth of your emotions sometimes.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
It's like a full range.
Yes.
And like
And I think it's what makes us alive. It's what makes us human. It's what makes me appreciate when like ish is going really good.
Yeah.
I can like really savor and soak in it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
You okay?
Wow.
You hit lip on that?
I was assaulted by the mic. Did the mic just assault me like that? But yeah, I'm feeling like a full range of them. It's like a rainbow of emotions. So I don't know. It's good. It's good. Yeah, it's good. I've learned through lots of therapy to not like push away and resist. Just kind of like sit, acknowledge, ask questions. But my heart though feels expectant.
Ooh, I like that.
Expectancy. Like I'm expecting good things.
Okay.
It just feels like it's coming.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. As you were saying that, I can't remember who said it to me or a book that I read it in. I've read so many books, so forgive me for not remembering the reference. I mean, we both are bookworms. Yeah. So like somewhere in a book, and maybe you'll know the reference, it was like telling me to invite my emotions in as guests and let them sit down.
Rumi, the guest house.
Yes. So good, so good.
I love that poem.
And honestly, when I think of that, I'm like, ooh, then I can allow it to come in and I can dismiss it and let it go.
That's right.
And so as you were saying, you were feeling that full range of emotion, that full breadth of emotions. I was like, but you know what? It's okay to invite them in and let them all just sit. Maybe they're mingling in the space.
We're having tea. I'm having tea with them.
Or it's a mixer, it's a little mixer.
Ooh, okay. All right. It's a little happy hour?
Yeah,
okay. I like I love a little happy hour.
But yeah, no, I appreciate that you were open enough and transparent enough to share where you're at today, because we don't always step up to the mic feeling 100% joy, but it's a beautiful thing. It makes you human. It makes you whole. Yeah. It makes you feel alive. And here we are.
How are you?
I'm very pregnant. That's my answer for today. I have been
it feels different today?
It feels better today than it did yesterday because I've been on this emotional ride with my hormones where they're just making me cry at any given moment. I cried yesterday, and then I had one day before that I didn't cry, and I cried the day before that 3 times.
In one day?
Yes.
Is it good? Is it like a happy cry or just like a cry because it just feels like I want to cry at the moment?
Sometimes it just doesn't make sense. Okay. Sometimes I just start crying, and I don't even know why I'm crying.
Okay.
So there we are in pregnancy land, introducing
People
myself.
don't know what to do sometimes, and folks just cry.
Yeah.
You see this like awkwardness of like, do I give you a tissue, but then I don't want you to feel like you should hide it.
Yeah.
Like, how do I hold space for it? Yeah.
It's interesting. And I know we're going to get into this in the conversation today, but it's interesting that oftentimes we carry the thoughts and like emotions of our parents and the generations before us. And so I was always brought up to think that you shouldn't cry. You shouldn't show that you're crying. Yeah. Crying is a weakness. Vulnerability might be a weakness even for you. And so I would always like rush to dry my tears and try to pull it together. And now I'm also learning to invite it in and allow it to be. And sometimes I don't even have to question it. Yeah. Sometimes I don't need to know why I'm crying, but I needed that release.
Ooh, that's a good space to be. That's actually a really good space to be. I had a coach one time tell me, and I was crying, and it really was like, no, like don't just let it be. Like they're beautiful.
Yeah.
Allow it to just like happen. And it made me feel more comfortable with crying in public too. And also we're in New York and people just don't care sometimes. They're like,
Yeah.
they don't even look at you weird.
Oh, I was walking down the street because I missed my hair appointment. I cried this day too. I missed my hair appointment.
That is something to cry about.
And I cried hard body in the middle of the New York sidewalk. And everybody was just walking by me.
They don't.
And I was like, this is also what I love about New York.
Yeah.
I actually started laughing after that because I was like, so many people have walked by me and not given me a second look.
Yep.
My face was drenched.
Yep.
And I was soaking in my tears.
Yep.
And no one, it wasn't that no one cared. It was just like everybody's minding their own business.
Oh, yeah. They're like,
And things to do.
Yeah. It'd been funny if someone was like, you good, miss?
Because you know they say it all aggressive
You good,
like that.
miss? And it's care. But you're just
It
like,
is.
I is.
Well, it's speaking of inviting things in to our hearts, to our homes. I think that is the perfect segue for introducing our guest.
So we have the founder of Organized for Love. Rebekah is here with us today. And we've been friends for a while. We actually had this really funny conversation of like, hey girl, how's life? But I know how your life's been because I see you on social, but I actually haven't seen you in person in a while. But we've been friends for a while, and it's just been so beautiful to see her journey of how she's grown her business from the ground up and how it's grown and evolved. And so now it is a digital organizing system. It's membership-based, and she helps people, she helps communities, she helps Black folks really transform their relationship with their space and helps you build an emotional connection to whatever you're looking to create, which is beautiful because it's not just a home. It's like that sacred space that she's helping you create.
Yeah.
Ooh, this keeps assaulting me.
I was like, it popped you in the mouth twice.
Yes.
Listen, speaking of connection, I felt so deeply connected to Rebekah as soon as she walked into the space. And I got to get into this conversation.
We have to. And there's a quiz, y'all. So like, stay tuned to the end so we give you all the deets on how you can find out.
That's right.
Your home personality.
Listen, get your pen and paper out. You're going to want to be prepared for this one. Here we go. We're here. Rebekah, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
How are you feeling today?
I'm excited. I'm nervous, but I could feel myself getting more comfortable.
Good.
We love that.
I mean, we took off our shoes and,
I think this
got
helped
the toes
a lot.
out.
Yeah. Well, we love to break the ice. So hopefully that will also break up the nerves a little bit. But we do like a rapid fire round. So we're going to say some words and you just say the first thing that comes to mind. It can be a word, a phrase. Don't think too hard about it. Just flow.
Okay.
You ready?
Let it come from the heart. Let it come from the heart.
Here we go. Baby.
Husband.
Yellow.
Love.
Windows.
Trees.
Love.
Baby.
I was like, that one's coming up. So they go hand in hand. Fur.
Oh, I don't know. Tree.
Sweep.
Home.
Declutter.
Home.
DIY.
HDTV.
Sex.
Husband.
Email.
Organized for Love.
Overwhelm.
Organized for Love.
Man.
Cornelia is my best friend.
Okay. Plants.
Palma trees.
Water.
Thirst.
Sisters.
Delilah.
Oh, yeah. I love that name.
Your husband, love, and it's family came up.
Yeah.
Family came up so much.
And Organized for Love. So
Yes,
we're going to have to ask you about that. But before we break into the episode, we like to set the intention in the space.
Okay.
And so Alicia has this wonderful deck of cards.
Okay.
And we're all just going to pull one for ourselves and read it and talk about what resonates with us.
I love that.
Yeah.
We love setting
so
intentions
excited.
around.
Yeah, we do.
The last time we did it was so spot on.
It really was.
It was
and we did
very.
and
And it was a
of the
group one.
conversation.
We
Yes.
each didn't pick one.
I know.
But it like spoke
you
to
did.
every.
You did
We're
one
gonna
card
each
for the
do
group.
we're gonna each do one today.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in our last episode, we just chose one overall because we had a virtual guest. And so we picked one for the group and it happened to be spot on for the conversation.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that.
It was. So just take a deep breath, ground yourself, and then reach for a card that feels good for you.
Okay, I'm going first?
Yep.
Yes. Oh, yes. You went right in. Okay, hold on to it. And then we're going to do the same.
So Deja's reaching for it. she's grabbed. We got to narrate for the people who aren't on YouTube. Please go to YouTube, y'all. We have the best facial expressions.
Yeah, you can see our beautiful faces. All right. All right.
We would love for our guests to go,
Yes.
Rebekah.
I do not mind. I am open. Vulnerability is my strength, not my weakness. My openness attracts those who are beneficial to my highest good. Amen. When I lean into my feelings, I am honoring my truth. Ooh, yes. When I communicate my feelings in a loving way, I'm speaking my truth. I am open. Yes.
Yeah. It seems like that one spoke to you.
Yeah.
So if you want to share any thoughts about like what was going through your mind as you were reading it.
We were talking earlier about like just me writing down like some of my values that I just want to hold high. And one of them is love. I'm going to say it in order. It's faith, gratitude, positive attitude, love, and integrity in that order.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, just listening and just like really being grounded like in my heart, especially when I'm in uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah.
Thinking about those values. So this all just like I've been having a lot of like really uncomfortable conversations, having to like hear things that are just like super uncomfortable, but just remaining compassionate, like listening with compassion. So I think all of this resonates for me, the vulnerability, because that's me being able to like hear from that place. Like the more I am connected with myself, the more I can hear from, hear things that I don't like from a place of like love and just resonate with what the person is saying and what they're going through.
Yeah.
And attracting folks, I mean, I know people talk about like haters and like having people in your circle. Like I haven't resonated with that in like a long time.
Yeah.
I attract like really, really, really good people that are just like wow.
Yeah.
Like, wow, you are perfect.
Yeah.
So, and it's just like the last 6 months, it's just like as I just evolve, it's just like more and more amazing people. So absolutely love that for me. And get my feelings. I mean, like sometimes like being vulnerable and just communicating like what I'm feeling is like really scary because I'm still like unlearning like what someone thinks of me is like none of my business. So like that, I'm just like getting out of that, like what I think people perceive me as.
Yeah.
So sometimes like sharing like my truth is like, I don't know what people are gonna think. And it's just like, I don't give
Yeah.
people are gonna judge regardless. So that resonates a lot because I'm leaning into that. And I have, I have a big personality. I have big opinions. So takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable. I think Renee Brown said that, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So I've always had a lot of courage as a child, right? But courage like looked like the way I looked at courage was like maybe bold or maybe assertive or aggressive, not necessarily more. And I wouldn't say like vulnerability is soft, but like when I think of vulnerability and courage, I didn't always see them together. So yeah, it's just courageous to just like lean into like how I'm feeling, sharing that, being okay with how someone is going to receive it.
Yeah.
And just knowing that like connection is going to be built and strengthened like between whoever I'm speaking to, the more that I'm like really speaking like truly from my heart, even if I'm like, oh, this is a thing that I shouldn't say. Or I'm embarrassed. And I've been doing that a lot. And it's amazing.
I love that. And so much of what you said, I felt like I could relate to. Like you said, talking about having a big personality and then even equating vulnerability to maybe softness, or for me, it was like weakness. And it's interesting to now put that side by side with courage and find the correlation between the two. I honestly thought about the fact that like I was always comfortable with being vulnerable to a certain extent.
Right.
There was like a line there, right? And I was not going
sure.
beneath the surface.
Yes.
I was like, oh, I'm going to live out loud, but I'm going to live out loud right here.
Yep.
Yes.
And you have access to everything above this line, nothing below it. So like for me, vulnerability is about the depths of it. And as I begin to like share my truth and speak my truth, I oftentimes get in my head, very cerebral. I'm like, oh, what is that person going to think? Or what, like I could be thinking about like what hundreds of people are about to think about before I post something.
Right.
And I'm like, why are you like driving yourself in circles and causing all this unnecessary chaos in your spirit, just thinking about what other people think, like that it really is none of my business. So I love that you said all of that. I was following and yes. Yeah. That hit home.
That hit.
Yeah, that hit hard. For all of us. I am inspiring. I am inspiring to those around me, even when I don't realize it. When I am welcoming, kind, and giving towards people, it inspires them to respond to me the same way. I am inspiring. You know what's very interesting? I felt that when I walked into the room today and I met you for the first time. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love your spirit. Like, I was like,
make me cry.
I really, honestly. And so like, I think my heart just was like, I just want to connect. Like, what can I do for you, sis? Like, how can we be in connection? How can we support each other? I felt it immediately. So the fact that you were already inspiring me when we like came into the room, I'm like, I feel like when you put something out into the world and like this card is now telling me that I am inspiring. And I was like, oh, I was feeling that about Rebekah already. So like, I think that's a beautiful thing to like be each other's mirror and to be able to show up that way in the world. And like you said, when you were talking about your card, that you don't resonate with like having haters and stuff now, because the people that are walking into your life are just so special and unique and empowering, I'm sure. And you're like, these people are just so perfect. They're supposed to be in my world, but that's a reflection of you.
Yeah.
So like, I just think that that's just like a beautiful like way to see things, a beautiful perspective on things.
I want to connect to what you said, but I want to hear.
No, go, share.
No, yes, we're here.
And I mean, just the whole idea of like, so we were talking earlier just about like this whole idea of like attracting your tribe, connecting with people who reflect you. And it's so interesting to hear you say that, because there was a time like last year when I felt like I questioned this whole idea of like me being community oriented and like so much like trauma, not my story, just a story that I like picked up from someone else. And so I feel like that resonates, like what you're saying, and me like leaning into that, acknowledging it, and like really like walking in that and not like shying away. It's crazy. So it's just, I love that you described it that way. Because I feel like the way that I'm like managing and dealing with that, like I'm growing so much with meeting these amazing people, right? Like I have to grow and evolve in order to be able to like sustain, manage, and do right by the people that I'm attracting. And like, it's a whole other thing. Like it's just crazy to think like, it makes me think of integrity.
Yeah.
Your values.
And that was on your value list.
Values.
Yes.
Because it's like integrity is doing what you say you're going to do.
Yep.
I add doing what, and this is what I wrote down for myself, doing what is expected of you based off of what I communicated. And maybe I said it verbally or not, but like my energy, like say my energy, like I'm expected to be a certain way because that's who I am. So it's almost like my higher power was like speaking through and just tapping into that. It's like people, you're expecting a certain thing from me, and just me tapping into that. Like it's not easy. That's what I'm saying. Like when I'm having like these hard conversations, being able to like hold space for people in a way that's super uncomfortable. So thank you for sharing that because that was really validating, and it just made me think of like my card.
Yeah. I hear a lot of what you've been saying, Rebekah, is just this like evolutionary journey that you've been on. And what what I'm observing that you picked up on is like how you are choosing to show up now. Like it's being seen. Like whoever you thought that like that Rebekah was, it's like it's being seen now. So like when you said that was a story you picked up, it's like you've already dropped it. It's like it's not. It didn't walk in this door.
It's null and void.
Yeah, it did not. It didn't walk in here at all. Yeah, because that's not what's being received or felt right now.
I love that. That's I think like even when like pregnancy, like after you have a baby, like it's just everything comes up. Yeah. Everything comes up. And it's just like, now though. Wait. Child, I'm trying to breastfeed. Like, I got to deal with the baby. Yeah, and it comes up like tenfold. Yeah. It's like, whether you like it or not. So that's something that, it's like things you already knew though. It's just coming up in more. I don't want to say aggressive, but that's like,
sometimes visceral, probably. It's just like,
that's a great word for it.
Visceral, okay, because I don't think aggressive inherently is bad. I don't think any words are inherently bad.
You like snatched you by the back of the neck because that comes in.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's not the visual, although sometimes it's bad way, but
sometimes it has to. Though. I'm hard at it. Okay, I am whole. I'm perfectly created. I'm a wonderful, unique individual. Every lesson I've learned, every risk I've taken, and every achievement I've made contributed to who I am. Because of that, I am whole. This hit. There's always a lot going on, right? It's just life.
Life be life.
Yeah, life be lifing. One of the things I was clearing out, making space in my house, and you have these like momentums from, I was here, I spoke here, I did this. And I'm like, I'm not a hoarder, but oh wow, this is perfect for this conversation. I didn't even like do this intentionally, but as it was coming up,
segue is strong.
I know. It just my spirit knew. So I was like, I'm not like a hoarder or anything, but like these meant something. And so my friend was there and just like, make space. Like you have more things that are coming up. Like this is a period of life. This is amazing. This is wonderful. And there's so many more things that you will do and that you will accomplish and that will come to you. So don't hold so tightly to not necessarily the memories, but those items that are attached to those memories. And I'm usually the one being like, just release, let go. So it's not necessary. Makes me feel. And when it's happening to you, I was just like, but you don't understand. And it was just like letting that go. And so when it says like every achievement I've made has contributed to who I am, it's like acknowledging that, and I don't need to like look at them or have them there. And I think the being whole piece makes me feel, yours was being open, right? It's allowing me to be more open to just kind of like go to whatever is next, whatever that next elevation is. Like being whole in what this season is and complete. So then it's like, okay, now you're ready for, and you're open and you're ready to like receive and like be in that. But it's funny that it was like a physical space thing that really like brought that up for me today.
Well, it's interesting how our lives parallel.
Oh man, we didn't even talk about this. What's happening?
I didn't have a choice. We had to clean out the space for the nursery.
Yeah.
So we have a guest room in our apartment and also a guest bathroom. And so we had to clean out, for the sake of the baby, the guest bathroom and the guest room. So we want to start with a blank canvas. And I have attachment issues to possessions, similar to how you were speaking. And I hold on to things for a long time. My husband is a minimalist. So if there's no use for it, he doesn't want it in the house. So I'm over here like cringing. Like I had all of these like products and things that were like underneath my sink. And I'm like, but I'm going to try that. I feel like I'm going to try it. And he's like, you're not going to try this. This has been under the sink for 6 months. I'm like, yeah, but like, okay, well, what if our guests like need, and he's like, we're making this into a nursery. We're not about to have guests spending the night. He's like, you need to move some of this stuff out. And so I just had to like take some deep breaths.
Yes.
And I had to really take a moment for myself. Like I had to like meditate through it and just like sit with myself and also ask myself like, why am I holding so tight? Like what's that? What is that tight grip, you know? And like you said, like so many things come up in motherhood and pregnancy. So I feel like this kid is already teaching me lessons like, I feel like I tend to grip things so tightly. And it was also this like metaphor for how I grip so tightly with relationships. And so then I was also, I'm getting in my head about that. I'm like sitting with myself like, why do you hold so tight? Like, and so I'm asking myself that question right now and like journaling through it and allowing myself to process what that is for me. But it's bringing up a lot.
It definitely
rising to the surface.
Oh man.
Lord have mercy.
And so as you were speaking, a part of me thought about, because I didn't sit with, in general, why do I hold like that with certain items? Because I'm always like, there's a use for it. I'm like, no, but I can like make it into something.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm crafty.
We're going to find it. We're going to find it.
Yeah, I'm like, no, and it always, like in my dream world, I would love to just have like a big like warehouse that just had things that I found. And I'd be like, you know what? I have the curtains that I can use to wrap around the chair because I'm going to redesign this whole thing, right? So that's how I look at it. But my house ain't big enough to be doing all that, right? It's like, it starts to close in on you. But I think about childhood, and I think it wasn't poverty. And we were having this conversation. It wasn't poverty, but you had to be really intentional with your resources. And so I think a part of that, as you were speaking, I was like, maybe that's a lot of it too, where it's like, no, don't waste, figure out a use for it. And as I got older, I had to like have these conversations where it's like, you're not going to eat it. Just throw it out. Throw it out. Stop saving the leftovers. It's going to sit there for a few days because you just feel bad about throwing it out in the moment. And again, it goes back to like not wanting to be wasteful. Like feeling like, you know, I have a duty to like make use of this. And I don't know, I just think like releasing that. Well, acknowledging it now, right? And then trying to like slowly like shift away from that. Because in products, it's like if you need it, you can go get it.
I know. Right?
But it just feels like, someone gave these to me. Like I don't want to do this. It was a gift.
And that's another thing is like if it's a gift or it's given to me, then I want to hold on. And my husband was also saying like, well, why don't you find somebody who is going to have better use for it? So that has helped me a little bit.
That's nice.
So I ended up giving all those products to Pepper.
Okay. Aw.
And she was so happy because she was like, I'm totally going to use these. And then we took a lot of the stuff from the guest room and took it to the Salvation Army.
Oh, that's good.
And so that made me feel a little better.
Yes.
I'm still not okay with some of those things that left. But I'm working on it. It's a process.
Yeah. Okay.
I have thoughts.
Organize for love.
I mean, listen, we've been dancing around it. We got to get to it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. So talk about this.
My first thought is like, we have like the privilege, the luxury of being able to like have new problems that our parents didn't have. And so I think just carrying some of the same concerns they had that we don't have those same concerns, like being wasteful. Like that's just not something that we have to be so conscious of. And so there was a time where like you really did, whether it was in your childhood or whether it was like a certain point in like time period where it's like you really do have to be more conscious, but it's like we don't, because it's like our lives aren't scarce like our parents experience. So it's just like we could release that survival tactic, but it's hard. It's really, really hard, especially when you're still around people who still kind of like have that way of thinking, like you can't waste things, you have to hold on. And I think it's really honorable. I really do think it's like amazing how in my household, we kept a lot of things because it's like, oh, someone else may need it. So we would hold on. Like we would have like, I can't tell you how many years we had a mattress in the hallway because like, oh, somebody may need this. And so I think that's like, it's not inherently bad, but it's just like recognizing like mattresses aren't necessarily so scarce where I have to hold it in my house for a year for someone else. Like, and then there's the other part where it's like, well, I have so many thoughts. Okay, so my second thought is like, sometimes that's the reason we want to be helpful. Like we're very, we're community people. We're like, it's all of us. Like that's literally like our roots, looking out for other people. So I think there's that. But then sometimes like that's just a front, like because you're not giving it to anybody. You're not doing the thing to actually give it to somebody. It's not as urgent. Like the same energy you have to hold on to it to give it someone is not the same energy you have to actually get it to that person. So it's just like it's just like it's just a cover up for something else. So like there's that. So it's like multiple things could be true at once. And we can acknowledge all of them. And then I think it's just we're just not used to having a lot. So when you're not used to having a lot, it's like I have to hold on to what I have. So that's just the 3 that's at the top of my head. But
it's layered.
It's so layered. What stands out to me the most is like, I really don't have to worry about the same things my parents had to worry about. I'm not living the same life as them. My daughter's not going to have the same, like me and my husband, like our lifestyle, our life is just not the same. So I don't have their problems. I don't have to think like them. Just like how our daughter, she's not going to have the same problems. It's really, really hard to make that shift. Cause like, that's what I was saying. Like we have the privilege and the luxury to talk about it. Cause even like I remember when we started like talking about like mental health, I was like, this is such a privilege. Cause like our parents didn't even have the space to think about their mental health. And so now we can talk about it and like we've been breaking it down. And I think it's holding space for like that, realizing that, and then be like, okay, I could let this go because I don't got that problem.
It makes me think of this is kind of a silly one, but like when everyone had plastic bags and you would just keep all the
plastic bags underneath the
All
sink.
of them. And
And put them
open the
into
sink
each
and they all
other
fall out. And you're like,
inside each
no, I need them all.
Right.
There's use. It's for the trash can liner.
Right.
It's to store food in. Well, whatever.
Yes.
Maybe it's I don't got a shower cap. It's like for the conditioner.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Multi-uses.
Right.
But we didn't need all 5,100
No, we didn't.
under the sink. But you feel, again, and throwing them out, that was a ridiculous thought. Like, why would
Absolutely not.
Wasteful. Come on.
And
Foolish.
my
You're
mother would
foolish.
ask me, why am I throwing them in the trash?
You only got 3? Wow. You only have 3 under here right now? What are you doing wrong in your life?
Now that is living in lack.
What is going on?
You don't have any plastic bags underneath your
That's
sink?
crazy. But and then when you were talking about the emotional connection, when we're talking about the emotional connection to like our possessions and how it's like so different from how our parents grew up. And so they didn't have the space or the luxury to think about their mental health and how the home even affected that, right? So they're still just like consume, or like save. Like my grandma grew up during the Great Depression. And so one of the things that we would joke about, like affectionately in the family, but she would really bring like Ziplocs and be like, no. But you know what that lady didn't do? She didn't eat leftovers. So you got all these leftovers for us, but you don't eat. So that's another thing.
That's what we were just talking like, I'm doing this for you. It's like,
stop.
Sis, being a martyr. Like, we don't need self-sacrifice.
Throw it out, Graham. Throw it out.
Yeah. But like those little things. So it's like they don't even have, like, if I got rid of some of this, like it might actually make me feel like I have like mental space when I don't have to see all the bulky furniture, right? That's in the house. Like 2 couches, because you're like, I don't know, we might
Like, might need the other one, or somebody might need that.
Like, or I got a new one, but this one ain't. It's still good. It's okay. It can still be good, but you don't need it. You know, like in the space, and so just that correlation to it's all a luxury.
Yeah.
I think.
No, I'm gonna get to it. You roll with what you were going to say.
I also love, like, we're naturally a giving people too.
Yes.
So I think, again, all of these things could be true at once.
Yes.
And I do think it's like beautiful how like we think about others and we hold on to things. And so this is the difference, like making it systematic, like giving, like the rotation of things going in your house, leaving your home. So where it's not like causing an issue for you. And like something is causing an inconvenience for you, then it's like no longer like serving the purpose of that satisfaction of giving it away and of clearing your space. And it's like, if it's causing stress and overwhelm, then it's like, okay, it's not serving its purpose. But I love, like, me and my friend, we were talking about like, I love giving things to, like, I love gifting. Like, I feel like I love receiving gifts, but I feel like I enjoy, like, I'm gonna be Oprah. Like, that's me. Like, I love just
one
like,
everybody.
I have bookmarks and Instagram collections and like albums of like gifts that I want to give to people that I've been saving for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
I love
that.
like, I just think the art of gift giving, because it's like you thinking of someone and you listen to them and they're talking about the thing, but they don't know, okay, this is the specific thing that I need or want. And then you find it and you're like, oh, this is perfect. You didn't say you wanted like a candle, right? But you're just talking about like how you like enjoy scents, just like stuff like that. So it's just like the thoughtfulness of gift giving and like, I don't know. That's what I love. So it's the same thing, like you said, you gave your hair products to
one of my friends.
One of your friends. And so it was just like, hair products like could be expensive. So maybe for like someone else it's like, oh my God, like what took billions of dollars to accumulate this collection of hair products?
That part.
So expensive, right? And then it's like, oh, now I have a collection. Like I don't have to go out and experiment, you know, because there's that whole phase. So it's like, it's a joy to do and it is self-satisfying to do, but it's just like, when it's not that. You know what I mean? And that's not the experience. If you're not continuously experiencing that and it's just sitting in your house, these are two different, you know, experiences. So I love donating things. There's these group called Facebook Buy Nothing groups where you just swap things.
Ooh.
One of my favorite. Yeah, you just look up Buy Nothing on Facebook plus like your zip code or your neighborhood. I know Brooklyn has like 1,000 of them because I'm in a bunch of them because like with my clients, like based on where they are, like I want to donate to that particular neighborhood.
Because that's what we're about to get to. Rebekah.
Yes.
We've been waiting to ask you this. But I'm going to let you finish. We want to know, and we want our audience to know about Organized for Love.
Yes.
So speak on it.
Oh gosh, I feel like I answer this question different like every time. But that depends on like where I'm at. Okay, so Organized for Love started as a professional organizing brand, really to just like help Black people unpack and just release things that are no longer serving them. So not like just the physical things, but just the emotional, the ideas, the perceptions, the belief systems, because they're all interconnected. And so that's honestly the point of Organized for Love. I didn't see a representation of home organizing for people of color, for Black people, for Black women. And so I'm like, I love organizing. I know what I'm doing in my life. I'm organizing, but I'm also thinking about home in a very like deep way. So we need this. This needs to exist. So I initially started it as just wanting to help folks organize their space inside their home. And now I'm actually like transitioning it to be a digital media company. So which is really exciting. So yes, we're still doing home organizing, but we're doing it like we're delivering just our information and we're supporting folks in a different way, which is really exciting because I feel like I can like reach more people and just working, you know, doing this work for almost 5 years now, a little under 5 years, like we're not ready yet to like have people come into our space in the rate that is needed for it to be like real change. And so it's like, okay, you may not invite me in your home. Maybe it's taken a little too long for me to educate you on why this is important and the value of it, but maybe you'll get on a Zoom call with me, right? Maybe you won't like, you don't want me to see your space yet, but you know you need the help. So it's like, okay, I can reach more people faster if I just shift this. This is just, these are my theories.
But that's beautiful. And also, like, as you speak about being in a home, it is such an intimate space. And so a lot of times I think when people are putting up those protective barriers and not wanting someone to enter into their home, it's because like maybe they are ashamed of something, or maybe they're like, not ready to be that vulnerable or share that much, you know? But I think it's beautiful what you've created, and we cannot wait to highlight what you've created and share it with our audience.
Can I add one thing too? So there's that part too where people do have that shame and embarrassment. And I think culturally too, like there's a thing of like, oh, you don't let anybody in your house. Like that's a thing for us. And like, I knew that coming into it. And I'm like, no, I knew that I had to do some education. And so just learning like, oh, I don't think this is necessarily like the right service or offer to like, you know, break that barrier to just show us like the value of just putting attention and intention into home in the way that I'm speaking about it. So yeah, just like as a people, we're like, oh, you don't I don't let nobody in.
It's intimate. Yeah. It's like a sacred space.
We don't do that.
And when you get into the layers of like from a cultural perspective, like so some people are like, if you cross the threshold, you don't know what people are like. There's like superstitions,
energy
involved.
Like,
like people coming in.
That's not superstitious. So, we could go
right. So there's like it's like so it's like I don't know. And so for me, right, and I completely agree. So my my home now was it was like my healing space. So I knew entering it, I was like, this is a healing phase. I want this to be a space of deep healing, deep creativity, and just like inspiration. Mm-hmm. So every single thing that I look at needs to make me smile. It needs to make me feel like I want to create or just feel like cozy or in love. Mm-hmm. And so that was the intention going into it. And so starting from the bones, I was like, okay, what gets me like energized? I'm like, I just need tons of sun. I don't like curtains. I just wanted to like middle of the night, like it's like 4 a.m. if the sun's starting to crack, like I love it. And then other things like I want a bathtub. That for me symbolizes like care and like the hug, so right? And so on my short list, I was like, I want big windows, a deep sunken in tub, and there was like one other thing. Oh, and a little bit of outdoor space. Even if it's just like enough to put a chair, especially pandemic. It was like, can I just
breathe? Yeah.
Can I just have a space to breathe? And I think I've never been that intentional in designing a home before. And so in living in New York, you have like tons of roommates, or any city, you might have tons of roommates. And so you create your room as a nook. And sometimes it's more so like functionality. Yeah. It's not like I'm designing this to have a desired result necessarily. Yeah. And so that was what I went into like my home now with. And when I tell you like there's everything around it, like sometimes I just look and I'm just like, this makes me happy.
I love
like every nook, every like
your space is so cozy. By the way,
goodness,
I just want to say
you were going to sleep.
I felt the warmth so much. She served me a little bit of tea. Yeah, I got in her little nook, and I was like,
that's like the joy of like watching somebody like sink into your home.
Yeah, that is exact. Yeah, okay, so that's the other piece. I get so much joy in creating spaces, and then seeing people like how they, without me saying it, just how they naturally interact with it, right? And I'm like, oh yes. Okay, I put that little baby martini side table. Okay, you notice that it's there to put your drink and it's like less clutter. And in small spaces, it's challenging to do. So how do you still create cozy and warm, but have multi dimensions of what you want someone to feel like all at the same time? Yeah. So my question, right, is this was me in my own head and thoughts and being like, these are the things I want to feel. So like, this is what does it for me. Like even colors, right? I'm like yellow and I want to have a lot of like vibrant, the green from the plants really like give me life. But how do people go about that? like if I'm like, say maybe I'm like a writer and I'm just like, I want to feel more inspired. Or like for me, I was like healing was really big. I was like, this is a single girl pad. We healing and we're creating. And that's just what it's gonna be.
Man, it's like how much time do you have? Like so many things. There's so many things that you mentioned that we can go down the road. Okay, so I want to start. This was my first thought. A lot of us, especially in New York, don't necessarily have the luxury to be that intentional, or don't feel like we can be that intentional because we're renting.
Yeah.
And what we witnessed our parents doing. Like a lot of our parents didn't own their homes or they didn't feel like that ownership of their space. So I know a lot of people that didn't put up, photos. You don't really do too much because a lot of us were just moving around. Yeah. And so like this whole idea of like, this is not only is it not ours, this is temporary. Yeah. We were always in a constant state of just temporariness, right? I don't think that's a word, but we going with
I know exactly what you meant, though.
Impermanence. That's the word that I was like, I don't know if that's the right word.
Yeah,
I got you. Thank you. So this impermanence of like, this is not mine. I don't I know I'm not staying here. I don't know when I'm leaving. So like not having the agency and the authority to like decide where you're living and what to do with your space. Like we've also internalized that. It's like, I'm not going to really put up photos. I don't want to put up shelves. Like I don't want to paint, you know,
I have to take that down. I'm going to have to cover up the holes.
So it's like, what's even the point? And then there's also like, my landlord is trash. He doesn't deserve for me to invest in it. Like, all of that gets carried, and how it shows up is like, I'm not even going to personalize. And there's no point of being intentional. I'm going to wait until I get my house. And it could be like 10, 15, 20 years of this mindset.
Yes.
Someone, whether they're in an apartment or in a house that they're renting, but you've literally, it's like 20 years. I've seen it happen so many times. And so it's just interesting how that particular mindset just like carries over. Even if you have a landlord like that's chill, you're not even gonna be open to that because you're like, you still carrying the story and the struggles and the challenges and the concerns your parents had. It's like, you don't have, that's not your concern no more.
That was my early 20s in New York, hard body. I moved around so much. I had a roommate one time. Shout out, I won't say your name, but shout out to you. Because that's still one of my home girls today. Our first, it was beautiful, and we didn't know it was beautiful because you just get to New York and you think everything looks like that, and you're like, nah, that was a win. And we did not appreciate it then. But it's one of those lofts, and you had to build the walls. So at first, everyone had a corner. There was no walls. We were just like living there with our little piles of stuff as they built the walls. It was very, very like New York old school. But in Bushwick.
Oh, I knew it.
Of course. And why were we all okay with living in corners with our little piles? But we were like, look how beautiful it is in here.
So funny.
It reminded me of like, it was like one of these Pharrell videos back in the day. And it like when I walked in, I was just like, I'm in a Pharrell video right now.
You talking about fronting?
Yeah, yes.
Oh my God.
I was like, this our place.
Yes, you better paint the scene.
This our place. Like that was the vibe.
Her, the kitchen.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Like I literally went to
gorgeous.
I want to
Speaking of, okay,
gorgeous.
This is not the dose, but I just want to drop this real quick. The Bachelorette is chocolate, y'all.
I haven't seen.
No. Her season hasn't come on yet.
Okay.
She just got like introduced to the world. Her billboard is up. I saw it somewhere in the city. She's beautiful brown skin. I think she's from Columbus, Georgia or something. She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
My goodness.
And I'm going to watch.
Yeah.
Just like I did with
Support.
Magic.
Yeah.
Because
support.
Simply because.
I want the ratings to go up because I'm here for it. I'm rooting for everyone that's black, right? Issa, right? Everyone's black. I got you.
Straight up.
Yeah. But my homegirl, so she just was like, lived out a suitcase for 6 months. Had just like one little baby IKEA shelf and would genuinely like put clothes back into the suitcase because she was like, I just don't really feel attached. Meanwhile, I'm all on Pinterest and I'm painting walls and I'm just doing all the things on this baby little budget, but it's about to be the best thing ever.
Yes, girl.
And I was like, we gonna make it work. But it got to a point where me and her, she was my roommate for so long, we moved around so much that like by our third apartment, I was like, oh, I get it. And she'd been there so much longer than me. Like I was fresh to the city. She'd already been there. So a part of her was like you're saying, it was like, I'm not going to be here that long. Or we say we're going to do these things and a year goes by so quick. And if you don't re-sign, if you don't get into your apartment and do things almost like immediately, you look around and you be like, them pictures I was going to hang 8 months later that never got done. But that just resonates so much what you're saying, that impermanence that you don't feel attached to it, but then it affects your emotional well-being.
Yeah. And we feel like we don't have the luxury of like having agency over what we can do with our space.
Yeah.
That affects, because it's like your confidence, you can't personalize your space. You can't do what you want in your space. You feel like limited. Because it's like you need to personalize your space for your lifestyle, to what what makes you feel good. But it's like, I can't do that. And so our sense of self is impacted. Like you said, well-being. So absolutely. Okay, so did y'all have any of those? Because I Okay, so keep going.
I love it.
Earlier, when I started Organized for Love, I started to just be curious about how other people perceive their space. Like when I'm doing like consultation calls. So I created a clutter rating. And it was just an internal system from 1 to 5. 1 is like hoarder, 5 is like minimalist. And I would start to kind of like see people's homes and like, okay, would rate them. And then I started to ask folks, okay, like, what do you think your rate is? I would just be curious of like what they would judge themselves. They were like, oh, I'm a 1. And I'm like, you're definitely like a 4. Like, it's not that. But this was just for me, right? Eventually, I was like, wait, this is good data. So I made a quiz,
Love it.
right? Just to be able to like help folks just see where they are.
Yeah.
So now I have leaned into this. And so I already had like hundreds of intake forms and my actual client experiences. And I have all this data. So I just developed it more, right? So I want to read yours because you literally, and it's almost like like I created my own like rating system.
Yes.
Like, it's like so fire because you're literally like, I already know I'm going to read it. You're going to be like,
that's
because
me?
you're like describing.
Tell me. Okay, if you don't know, everyone should. I love a quiz.
I love a quiz too.
Love.
When you sent me that HSB, I was like,
So it's so
I'm
crazy
in.
because I've been sitting on this quiz for like, so I made the clutter rating like when I first started, right? It was just internal system I was using for a couple of years. So I already had like a lot of data, right? I wasn't really thinking of it. Then I made the quiz way after that. I still wasn't like trying to like go hard.
Yes.
I was like, oh, this is dope. But I wasn't.
Yes.
And it wasn't until like last month, like last year, really.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh no, this is a thing. So I made profiles for each rating. And it's like, because I already had the data, like I already was like profiling folks.
We have to drop the link so everyone can
So,
know.
oh my God.
We'll drop the link.
So
in the
as
show
you're
notes.
talking, I have a whole guide that I just made this morning. It's really dope. So I'm going to briefly describe.
Okay.
Briefly describe each one. All right, level 1. This is hoarder level. I call this like aspirational homebody. So maybe if you've like inherited clutter from like a family, you've just lived in clutter most of your life. That's pretty much like all you know. And you're just kind of like being pushed by just wanting something different. You like, my life can't be this way.
yeah.
So that's aspirational homebody. Homebody adjacent, which is level 2, right? So this is like, it's not like very similar to homebody, to aspirational homebody, but it's like, it's not your fault that you've lived in clutter for so long. But you feel the burden of just wanting to like change your life. Like you're doing all of these different things. And it's just like, I'm trying to like change my life. So it's like all of these things going on. It's like almost feels like you're trying to like climb out of this hole. Then there's the creative homebody, and it's actually self-explanatory. So this is someone like you're juggling the different things. You know, you're living a full life. You have all of these projects. Like it's very important for you to be able to express yourself creatively. However, that means that your home ends up being like on the back burner.
I am her.
And then there's level 4, true homebody.
Self-identified.
So this is like a really ambitious woman, very driven. You have like these, like you're entering into this new stage in your life where you have these like new problems. And you're just like, I've never had these problems before. It's really impressive. And it's a good thing, but it's like weird because you're like, okay, now I have to like adjust my home to match my new lifestyle. So that's true homebody. And then there's clutter level 5, fancy homebody. So your home's not perfect.
You said Fenty?
Fancy.
Oh, fancy.
Homebody. So the
We're fancy homebody.
So your home isn't perfect, but most people like consider your home like home goals. You have like hidden bouts of clutter like everybody else. However, like you've worked so hard to build like the foundation and just perfecting your home, and your system's at A1 and you have like it's Instagram ready. You're a fancy homebody. I need to read this profile. And you tell me.
As soon as you said the little about the clutter, because the things that would be cluttered, I'm like, a drawer somewhere. Like, please, like, no, we can't organize clutter.
I'm just like, I'm amazed. So that was just like the quick summaries of the rundown. But I just really wanted to read yours because I'm like, this is crazy. All right, true homebody, level 5. Your home isn't perfect, but most would consider it home goals. And for a good reason. You spent years perfecting your space and it shows. Your systems are A1 and Instagram ready. That was the summary. You have the foundations down because cleaning and organizing is part of your daily pride and joy. However, you have hidden bouts of clutter like everyone else. Besides the fact that some laugh at your clutter, you know some of your current systems and design can use a refresh. Your home is basically done, so putting the time aside to update a room or area can fall between the cracks. Whether it's needing an updated home office to match your changing work path or your infant growing into a toddler, the previous look and systems need just some love, and systems need attention or a small update. Specifically, the same energy you use to starting up your space is the same energy you need to just make those updates. You're either slow or take for granted the necessary investment to do a full or partial makeover. Because of this, you're not pressed, but in the back of your mind, you know eventually you need to revisit putting the time into updating those space updates. Hold on, I got another one for you. So that's like the
so
full
accurate.
She was just thinking into that.
It's like, wow,
That's me. I am her.
Yeah.
So here's some things, and we talked about when you were talking about the intention that you were putting into your space. I was like, she a fancy home. Like this is key fancy homebody, and I'm just like, I love, like you said it. You said I wasn't able to put this intention into my space. And a lot of the levels, some of them are like, what's the word I'm looking for? Not linear. Linear straight, right?
Yes.
I don't know. It's climbing. The ebb and flow of it?
No. Okay, it's fine.
Okay.
It'll come to me. So it's like,
when you did this, I was like, vertical?
Yeah. So people aspire.
Okay.
But not all the time. Like you can go from a 5 to a 1. Like it depends. But people aspire to be a homebody. That's what everyone wants to go that. Yeah. So when you said that you were never able to do that before, that was also a signal to me, like the levels that you went through. So no, I'm just, that's why I wanted to pull this out, because I was like, I know this is going to come up. And I just want to be able to like, okay, let me read your. Do you remember what you said? You said you were a creative.
It was something creative.
Yeah. Okay, this is good. All right.
Wait, but are you going to give everyone all the goods, because we want them? We want to direct. No. But we want them to go.
Absolutely.
To,
okay, so it's the link to take the quiz.
Is
organizedforlove.com. /clutter quiz.
We will also drop it in the caption.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we want everybody to take it.
It's very fun.
And it was created by you.
Yes.
A Black queen. So we will also be promoting and supporting and leaving it for everybody on the site.
So, creative homebody, level 3. You are a multi-passionate, multi-dimensional, multi-hat-wearing creative who is driven and passionate. You're creative before you're professional, but your work consumes you. Although you're juggling so many different things, you don't let that stop you from having and living a full life. So you don't have as much time to solely dedicate to your space. You think it's cute, your space, but you know it could function better. You're grateful, but wish your space was better cultivated so you can seamlessly get into your creative zone. You want to use your gifts for your community because preserving the culture, family, Black folks, breaking generational curses is your jam. You know improving the way your space functions will make it that much easier to support the causes you hold so high. Wow. Speaking of high, you have high moral standards and integrity. One way or another, your gifts get poured back into your community.
So, Rebekah, after this assessment, when are you coming to my house? Because I'm gonna need you to get me all the way together.
Seriously, I will not take it personal. Like,
spot on. No, spot on.
Even before you read the full thing and you just said like the little spots
blurb
of clutter, I was just like, there's like those nooks in my house where I know I'm like, tuck here. I might eventually get to it.
Yes.
The 90% of it is, and in my head, I would really love to get to the other 10. And like you're saying, it's like, that there could be a little bit more, but it's just like, there's other.
Yeah, I'm a fancy homebody.
You can't be doing all those things.
I was like, and then some people resonate with both. Like they're like a little bit of both. Yeah. So it's like, that's fine too.
Yeah. Okay, so we were able to touch on so many things.
Oh my God, wait, I'm sorry, did I?
No. We have time for one more question.
Yes.
Okay.
But I know that we talked already on like the connection between environment and emotions, but I think a lot of people will be wondering like, well, how does my home shape my emotional energy?
Yeah.
Like, how can I improve upon that? Where do I even begin?
Yeah.
And I think that could be something very valuable for our audience to hear. But then also we're just going to send them your way so you can have
no, for sure.
So you can get some more clients. You already made a client out of me. So
how much time do I have?
Yeah.
Listen.
Okay.
Sis, we're going to let you finish, okay?
So this is my framework. So it's called mood.
Okay.
M is for mindset. O is for out with the old. The second O is for organize. And the D is for decorate. So the first step in the process is mindset. And that's literally just the act of taking the things out of your head to formalize and understand them.
Yeah.
So you can do that through journaling, brain dumping, talk therapy, talking to your community. Because there was a point where like we didn't really do therapy because it's like you're talking to grandma, auntie, all that good stuff, right? So we do both though. We don't dismiss. Both of those, you need both of those.
Yeah.
And so that's the only way. I can't tell hundreds of people how their emotional space is impacted. They have to really sit and like do the work and like sit and be like, what do I want from my life? Because we all want different things for our life. We all want different things in our homes. And so really like purging those things in your head, like your belief systems, like how you were raised, but really starting with like what you truly want. I think a lot of us aren't used to truly getting to the thing that we want because, you know, we connect with what we think we're supposed to want.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's like, you say you want this one thing, and it's like, oh, I actually really did. Even like 20 years later, like I started to get a PhD, and like a year into it, I was like, oh, baby, this ain't for me. And that's a whole like that's crazy. Like it takes a lot to get into a PhD program. I was like, oh, no, we good. So it's like getting to the thing that you truly want when you're able to say, like, what do I want out of this space? Just like we were talking about, like having that intention. Before you can be intentional, you have to like know what you want.
Yeah.
So it's honestly like, what do I want out of my space?
Yeah.
But like, what do I want out of my life? Right.
Yeah.
So that's one. And then out with the old is like just really releasing the things that no longer serve you. I'm sorry, hold on. So releasing the things that no longer serve you based off of the thing that you want. So like the things that you want, it's like, okay, now we need to prioritize like what are the things that you need to focus on.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like if you say you want, you just want like a really, really nice condo. You actually don't want a house. You don't want a house. You want to live in the city. You don't want to move far out to the country like you thought you needed to. So now you know, like, actually, this apartment in New York I don't really want a house. I would like to actually maybe get a better apartment in New York, maybe a condo, maybe a duplex. So it's like being able to see that. For a long time, I thought I wanted a house. And I was just like, oh, I don't.
It's almost what we're taught to aspire to have. You know what I mean? So like
connecting with the thing, because that's going to just like get you closer to getting rid of what you don't want. And because everything we want is like connected. It's all connected to like our emotional and our wellness. Based on what you want, based on what you're striving for, you're going to make decisions in your home based off of that.
Yeah.
So I think it really starts. I don't know if that answered the question. I feel
it did.
It definitely
did.
People something to chew on.
Yeah.
And I like that it wasn't prescriptive either. Like you really, it was like you got to do the work for yourself to like understand what that is for you.
Yeah.
And so if you start to notice, like I just think about like, oh man, in seasons where I didn't feel the best, my house didn't look the best either. Like the clothes was on the floor, you ain't fold nothing, you ain't do laundry. The house looks depressed.
Yeah.
Right. And then again, it's not instantaneously once it cleans up, I'm immediately better, but you start to feel the pressure like relieve a little bit. And so you could take that into any dynamic or any way. One of the things I heard, I was doing this, I'm always doing a book, but if you want to invite looking for love, right? It's like, how do you bring more love into like your home? So being intentional. And it was like in your bedroom, why is there a TV? Like, what are the things that symbolize love for you? And so there's this picture that hangs over my bed. And that was the one thing that I was like, it is, when I saw
I commented on that when I went upstairs.
It's just,
I need to go. We need a house.
it just gives me so much warmth and love. And it's Malik Sadiq. I hope I'm saying his name right, but he's a Nigerian street photographer. And it's just this black and white photo of this man and this young woman. And she got her like straight backs on, shoes are off, and they're just like dancing and their foreheads are touching. And they're dancing. And it's just so intimate.
Yeah.
And it sits right above my bed. And I'm just like, this is going to be a space where love is cultivated.
Yeah.
And so like, I love what you're saying, like what do you want that desired outcome to be? And then it's almost like, what's the word are like rerouting or backtracking like to get there.
Yeah, people want the straight answer to certain things, and it's just like,
you gotta do the work.
I could only do but so much.
Yeah.
However, I do have some like prompts for each level, specifically of like, okay, how do I make that connection? Okay, so this is level 1. What's your motivation? Who's the most important to you? A lot of times, most of the time, clutter is just isolating. So it's like sometimes that could be an aspiration, wanting that connection. What do you want to be known for? A lot of us feel a lot of shame for our spaces. So that could be a motivation.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to be known in the world? It'll help you to be like, okay, not my home.
Yeah.
Who can you talk to about this? The more you talk about the things that make you uncomfortable, the less shame, the less power you give your shame. Where can you give yourself extra grace for level 2? List the areas in your life that you're working on. What part of your situation can you take accountability for? A lot of times it's not your fault that your space is that way. It is a reflection of your circumstances. And sometimes it's a reflection of like your own self-sabotage as well. So just like seeing like, where can I take accountability for that? All right. Level 3, what's your scariest goal? What's taken away from your joy? What are your values? What daily habits don't align with your values? So like all of these things, answering them really does connect to like your space.
Yeah.
All right. Level 4, where are you in a rush to go? Where do you need help? What can you use more of? What part of you needs healing to fully trust? And then level 5, why are you putting this off? What would be helpful to you right now? What wounds are coming to the surface, and who or what is distracting? So like, this is just the whole idea of like emotions, the emotional space. It's like, before we jump into like dealing with the stuff outside, like we got to deal with the stuff inside.
Yes.
Because like we keep saying, like it really is a reflection for sure.
Because like what I'm hearing is like, you just see the HGTV and you're like, I want my house to look like that.
Yeah.
And that might not really be what you need to cultivate whatever it is in the season that you're in. But visually, you're just like, oh, I see
that. It looks beautiful to me. It's aesthetically pleasing. You know what's interesting? As you say that, I'm like, oftentimes people look at that and they think they can just replicate it, or they just try to find copies. Yeah. What I also believe in what you said was like, finding that place to begin, finding that place to start, and those prompts that you provided. By the way, as you all were listening, you probably need to rewind and run that back.
Yes,
and get the pen and pad out and answer those prompts, because in my head I was already answering them. So I'm going to encourage all of our viewers to go ahead and get a pen and paper, write those things down. Y'all probably were already taking notes through the whole episode.
When you take the quiz, you get this guide.
Okay, so when you take the quiz, you get the guide.
You're
going to get the outline.
You're always giving gifts, is what I'm hearing.
Giving gifts, dropping gems. And this has been so dope.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Rebekah,
we need a part 2.
We do need a part 2. And I was about to say,
some motherhood. Like,
we didn't, I know.
And how that'll change.
But we can come back. We can come back.
Yeah.
I'm in this thing.
Yeah.
I'm in this club. Listen.
You're not tapping out.
I ain't tapping out. Y'all, this has been so real. We appreciate you for showing up always. And we hope that you're coming back for another episode. If you enjoyed this episode, you know what to do. Rate, subscribe, comment, like, share, do all the things. Yes. Anyways, I'm Deja Riley.
And I'm Alicia Ferguson.
And you have just tuned into your weekly dose of duality. Boom. See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.
If you have enjoyed this episode of Dose of Duality, please do us a favor. Like, share with the homie, and subscribe. We love hearing your feedback, and trust us, we respond to like everything.
Sure do. And don't forget to rate and review this podcast. Come back again next week for another Dose of Duality.